There we go.
Oh, there we go. I heard it.
I'll be able to send that to you via a Google Drive.
Okay.
Figure out where it saves to on my computer.
Okay. So I'm going to time it, and I'll let you know. Well, you'll know when I'm finished. I'll really do my best to keep it to about 8 minutes. I think last time I did it, it was like 8 minutes and 15 seconds or something like that.
Oh, wow. You're doing great. Well done.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go as if Sam has just introduced me. Yeah.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay. Here we go. Starting now. Okay. Thanks for that introduction, Sam, and good evening, everyone. I want to speak to purpose number 2 of the symposium, which is about developing a common language around the concept of sustainability. And as you can see from the screen in front of you, the 2 words that I'd like to invite you to join me in using in a distinct manner are the words growth and development. And a couple things to say about this. These are economic terms, and in the way that I'm going to explain the differences between these 2 words, um, they are treated more or less as synonyms in economics, and I'm going to suggest in the way that I'm using them, and that I'm going to invite you to join me in using them, is that growth is inherently unsustainable, whereas economic development is allows for the possibility of sustainability. Okay, so let's get started. A little bit of a brief background. So worldwide, government policy is totally committed to growth. And just to give you one example from the Australian Treasury, they've said that the challenge for Australia is to raise standards of living through economic growth. And that statement is pretty typical. The next point to understand is that the economy is a real thing. And just to share a story with you which emphasizes this, many years ago, when I was getting ready with a friend of mine to take his dog for a walk, I was waiting in his laundry room while he went and fetched the dog. And in Canada, where I grew up, laundry rooms are always inside. And it suddenly dawned on me that everything in that cluttered room, from the washing machine I was leaning on to the little crumpled up gum wrapper under the sink, everything ultimately had come from the environment. And that realization that just dawned on me was so impressive. It was just, I can't really fully recreate it now, but you may look around your room right now and marvel and at the same thing, is that everything that you can see is has ultimately come from the environment. So the economy is a real thing. It's not just this abstract thing out there. And so the next point to understand is that as economies grow, they grow into ecosystems. And because the earth is finite, then so too is economic growth. And so therefore, ecological sustainability requires some limit to growth. Okay. So this is a little diagram depicting more or less what I was just talking about. So as you look from left to right, you can see that the brown box, which is the economy, is getting much bigger, and it's growing into the parent system or the ecosystem which contains it. And another important point to understand is that both the economy and the containing ecosystem contribute to human welfare. And there's these 2 arrows at the bottom here showing that. So the brown one is the economic contribution. Those are the economic services. And the green arrow below that are what are called the ecosystem services, which are broadly defined as things which ecosystems do which benefit people, although not exclusively people. And as you look to the diagram on the right, you can see as the economy grows, the services that are provided by the economy also grow, but at the expense of the ecosystem services. So the green arrow is now smaller. And so the idea is that beyond a certain scale, these ecosystem services become so diminished that the ecosystem doesn't function properly anymore. And there are many examples of that, like climate change and biodiversity loss and plastics in the ocean and so on. A key word to introduce here is this big word I've highlighted in red here at the bottom, which is throughput. Now, this word comes from engineering and thermodynamics, and it's defined as the matter and energy flowing through some system. And so if you look back at the diagrams up here, as I mentioned, the economy is a real thing, so it requires real matter and energy for the production of real goods and services. So it takes in matter and energy, and it puts out matter and energy in a degraded form, along with its products and services. And so all of the matter and the energy flowing through the economy is collectively referred to as the throughput. Okay, so here's where we come to the guts, if you like, of the presentation. So with that in mind, economic growth is specifically a quantitative change as the throughput increases. So as we get as the economy grows, we get greater throughput, more and more matter and energy flowing through the economy, and we get more products and services. But again, because the Earth is finite, growth cannot go on forever. It's inherently unsustainable. So if you ever see or hear the phrase sustainable growth, call it out for the oxymoron that it is. Development, on the other hand, is specifically a qualitative change, and it is defined to be within ecological economics by Herman Daly and many others. Any changes in production with, and this is key, with the throughput held steady. And depending on the level at which we hold the throughput steady, ecological sustainability is possible. But we're a long way from that at this time. So some of that can be quite abstract when we talk about it. So here is a simple analogy of a human body, of growth versus development. On the left here is a picture of me or shortly after I became a parent, and I'm holding my approximately 2 to 3 week old daughter in my hands. And as you look from left to right, you can see that one of these bodies, my daughter Pandy's body, is growing. It's physically accreting more matter and demanding more energy, as well as time and attention and many other things that occur as kids grow. But her body is definitely growing. My body, on the other hand, although it may not be as obvious, is more or less staying the same. And so my body is not growing. Moreover, it has not grown in, I don't know, about 20 or more years. My weight has been roughly the same throughout that time, and my daily caloric intake is being roughly the same as well. So in just the same way as economies can grow by greater throughput, so can bodies. And just the same way as development can occur without growth in the economy, so too can a human body. And I think that's really important to distinguish that, because sometimes the phrase zero growth has a negative connotation, but we can still develop without growth. And in the human body case, through education and experience. Okay, so thanks for listening. Please send any feedback to my email, jvt@gmail.com. And, there was not enough time in this talk to go through all the evidence. It's supporting what I was saying. It's a big topic. But if you go to my website, jvt.com/about, there's a couple of articles I've published there that give much more detail. And it looks like we may just have about 1 minute for a question.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah, that was fabulous. I could have listened to you all night. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
could talk a lot more if I had time, but there's a lot to kind of cram in, and there's some things that I missed there.
So,
Anyway,
so I think I'd mentioned to you, and if I haven't mentioned to you, I have got plans for you. um,
oh, you have.
yeah, I do. I've been on my list of things to do this year, and obviously my plans had to go a bit awry with changing this event to being online.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
what I wanted to do after the symposium is start to offer um, professional development for teachers in
Oh,
particular,
yeah.
but also
Was
for
that the list, or the database that you sent out, the teacher
the teacher
database?
bank. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
some
Teacher
of
bank.
that,
Teacher bank.
yeah, some of that was about the teacher bank. Some of it was actually about going. So the teacher bank, I guess, had multiple ideas in my head. For instance, the Department of Environment and Science have got a science education team who, like the chief scientist team in Queensland, who are looking for some input into a project they've got, and they need teachers for it. Or like there's an organisation that will enter into some sort of social enterprise agreement with, who need, like, what we need to do is the curriculum side of it, and they're doing the tech side of it. Um,
Hey, Katie, sorry to interrupt you just for 1 second. Do you want to stop recording now, just so that the
yeah,
file is not so big?